Welcome back to the channel, my spooky friends. Tonight we're venturing deep into the heart of darkness, a place where the trees whisper secrets and shadows dance with the unknown. We're talking about haunted woods, places steeped in folklore and riddled with chilling mysteries. Our journey tonight centers around a series of unsettling discoveries, animal tracks, but not the ordinary kind. These prints hint at something lurking in the shadows, something ancient and potentially dangerous. Prepare yourselves, because tonight we're diving headfirst into 3 real-life encounters that'll leave you questioning what's truly out there, watching us from the darkness. Imagine this: the sun beginning its descent, casting long, eerie shadows through the dense canopy of Black Ridge Forest. Our story starts with a lone hiker, Sarah, venturing out for what she thought would be a peaceful afternoon hike. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and pine needles, the silence broken only by the crunching of leaves beneath her boots. As she walked, Sarah noticed something peculiar off the beaten path. A set of tracks imprinted in the soft earth. They resembled paw prints, distinctly canine, but much larger than any dog she'd ever encountered. These were the tracks of a predator, their size alone enough to send shivers down her spine. Days later, another hiker stumbled upon similar prints, this time even closer to the rumored heart of the haunted woods. Stories began to circulate, whispers of a monstrous wolf-like creature stalking the woods, its eyes glowing an unnatural yellow in the darkness. Locals, their whispers laced with fear, called it the Black Ridge Beast, a creature of local legend thought to be nothing more than a spooky tale to keep children from wandering too far from home. But these tracks, these tangible signs of something lurking just beyond the realm of the known, painted a much more unsettling picture. Driven by curiosity and a growing sense of unease, Sarah returned to the woods, determined to find answers. She followed the tracks, each step deeper into the darkening woods, taking her further into the unknown. The forest seemed to close in around her, the playful whispers of the wind now sounding like guttural growls. Deeper and deeper she ventured, the tracks leading her to a clearing. There in the center stood an ancient gnarled oak, its branches twisted and reaching like skeletal fingers towards the twilight sky. And at the base of the tree, Sarah saw it, a pile of bones picked clean and gleaming white in the fading light. Panic welled up inside her. The air felt heavy, charged with an unseen energy. She could feel eyes on her, watching her every move. Turning to leave, she noticed something else. A single wolf-like track imprinted in the soft earth just a few feet behind her. Whatever had left it there had been watching her, stalking her. She ran, her heart pounding in her chest, the sounds of the forest amplified, each rustle of leaves sending chills down her spine. She didn't stop running until she burst out of the tree line, the safety of her car a welcome sight. But even as she drove away, the image of that massive track, the feeling of being watched, stayed with her. She knew deep down that the Black Ridge Beast was more than just a local legend. It was real, and it was out there, hidden somewhere in the shadows of the haunted woods. News of Sarah's encounter and the chilling photographs of the wolf-like tracks spread through the small town like wildfire. The legend of the Black Ridge Beast was no longer just a campfire story, it was a tangible threat. Some dismissed it as an elaborate hoax, but others, those who lived on the fringes of the forest, knew better. They had always known. Among those who believed was a young woman named Emily, a local park ranger tasked with patrolling the very woods where the tracks had been found. Emily, unlike many of her colleagues, had always felt a strange connection to the forest, a sense of unease mixed with a peculiar allure. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Emily encountered something she couldn't explain. While patrolling a secluded trail, she discovered a series of deep, 3-toed scratches etched into the trunk of a towering pine. These weren't the marks of any known bird. They were too large, too powerful, the grooves deep enough to have been carved by something wielding incredible force. Whatever had made these marks was something out of a nightmare, something that defied rational explanation. As Emily examined the claw marks, a cold shiver ran down her spine. The forest, usually alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, was eerily silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath, as if the woods themselves were watching, waiting. A sense of dread washed over her, the feeling of being watched intensifying. She shone her flashlight into the darkness, but the beam was swallowed by the dense undergrowth, revealing nothing but the unsettling stillness of the forest. Suddenly, a blood-curdling shriek pierced the silence, echoing through the trees. It was a sound Emily had never heard before, a primal scream filled with a mixture of pain and fury. Her heart pounded in her chest as she strained to pinpoint the source of the sound, her hand trembling as she reached for her radio. Before she could call for backup, another sound caught her attention. The sound of heavy wings beating the air, accompanied by a low guttural growl that seemed to vibrate the very ground beneath her feet. The growling grew louder, closer, and Emily knew that whatever had made those terrifying claw marks was now circling above her, hidden in the darkness. She ran, her flashlight beam dancing wildly in the darkness as she stumbled through the undergrowth. The growls followed her, seeming to surround her, taunt her. Fear lent speed to her steps, but it wasn't enough. She could feel something massive behind her, its presence looming, its hot, fetid breath on her neck. Just when she thought she'd be dragged into the darkness, she stumbled out of the woods and onto the familiar path leading back to the ranger station. Collapsing on the ground, her chest heaving, she looked back at the tree line, but the darkness held its secrets close. News of Emily's encounter spread quickly, fueling the flames of fear in the hearts of the townspeople. The woods, once a source of peace, were now considered off-limits, shrouded in an ominous silence. The local authorities organized a search party to investigate the strange occurrences. Among the volunteers was a seasoned hunter named Daniel, who knew the woods well. Daniel dismissed the stories as overactive imaginations fueled by fear. He had spent his life in these woods and had never encountered anything supernatural. The search party fanned out, their flashlights cutting through the darkness as they scoured the forest floor. Hours turned into days, but the search yielded nothing. The woods seemed determined to keep their secrets. Just when hope began to dwindle, Daniel stumbled upon something that sent a chill down his spine. There, in a secluded clearing, was a set of tracks unlike anything he had ever seen before. They were hoof prints, but not of any deer or elk that inhabited these woods. These prints were massive, easily twice the size of a man's hand, and spaced far apart. As he followed the tracks deeper into the woods, the hair on the back of his neck stood on end. The air grew heavy, oppressive, and the forest seemed to close in around him. The feeling of being watched, of being hunted, intensified with each step he took. The hoofprints led him to a secluded grove, the air thick with the smell of decay. In the center of the grove stood a towering oak, its branches gnarled and twisted, its bark scarred with strange symbols. And then he saw it, impaled on the lowest branch of the oak, a mangled carcass, its limbs contorted at unnatural angles. It was the body of a large animal, but its features were distorted, almost demonic. Whatever had done this was no ordinary predator. It was something born of nightmares. As Daniel stared in horror, he heard a low growl emanating from the depths of the woods. Slowly he turned, his hand instinctively reaching for the hunting rifle slung across his back. The growling grew louder, closer, and through the trees he saw it, a pair of eyes glowing with an unnatural intensity. He raised his rifle, but before he could fire, a massive form crashed through the undergrowth, its hooves pounding the earth. Daniel caught a glimpse of its grotesque form, a nightmarish fusion of creature and shadow before it was upon him. A blood-curdling scream pierced the night, echoing through the trees, but it was cut short, replaced by a sickening crunch and the heavy thud of a body hitting the ground. Then silence. The creature, its hunger momentarily satiated, melted back into the darkness, leaving behind only the echo of its passing and the lingering stench of death. The search party, drawn by the sound of Daniel's scream, arrived at the grove too late. All they found was Daniel's mangled body, his eyes still wide with terror, and a set of massive hoofprints leading into the darkness. The haunted woods remain a silent testament to the mysteries that lurk just beyond our understanding. Are the tracks real, or figments of overactive imaginations fueled by fear and folklore? The stories of the Black Ridge beast, the monstrous bird, and the creature with hooves of fire continue to haunt the town, whispered warnings passed down through generations. A reminder that some places are best left undisturbed, some secrets better left buried. Thank you for joining us tonight, and remember, if you ever find yourself venturing into the woods, be careful, stay vigilant, and always listen to the whispers of the unknown. Sweet dreams.